Hi everybody, welcome back. It's Amy. Today we're going to talk about interventions to avoid a lapse. A lapse, if you remember from our handy-dandy relapse prevention model, is an emotion, fantasy, thought, or behavior that is part of an offender's relapse pattern. Lapses are not a sex offense in themselves. They are not. They should never be confused with a relapse. A lapse and a relapse, two very different things. But what a lapse is a precursor or a risk factor for a sex offense. The same can apply when you're speaking about a self-destructive or addictive behavior. So let's talk about these lapses. First, what you need to do is identify the offense precursors. If you remember, the precursors are the things that come before the lapse. Many circumstances predispose a lapse and can be anticipated and bypassed. You should learn to recognize offense precursors involved in your lapse. Just identifying a lapse is not enough, but rather identifying the warning signs and responding adaptively when a warning sign is noticed is extremely important. Do not think of a lapse as an absolute failure. Instead, see it as an opportunity to enhance self-management by learning from your poor decisions. Once you analyze the circumstances that preceded it, you can develop coping behaviors to decrease the likelihood of lapses occurring in similar situations. I'll give you a very simple example of lapse versus relapse. A lapse is walking into a bar. A relapse is having the drink. All right? So you need to see what those precursors are. What led you to the bar when that lapse of going in happened? Okay? If you can identify that, then the lapse most likely will not occur. All right. Now, secondly, there are stimulus control procedures. External stimuli can provoke, if external stimuli provokes stimulus, simply removing the stimuli from your daily environment may enhance self-control. If you have pornography, or even access to it on your computer, if you know of certain shows, if you watch them on TV, that will evoke abusive sexual fantasies, don't look at the websites, the TV shows, the porn that you might have. In fact, you should throw it out. You can control your environment. You can control that stimulus. Completely remove these things from your surroundings if you know they are a trouble for you. It's like throwing out the alcohol in your house, throwing out the cigarettes if you're trying to stop smoking. This is no different. All right. Avoidance strategies. Avoid circumstances that might elicit lapses. For example, if you need to stay away from alcohol, don't go into a bar. Don't hang out with people who drink. If you need to stay away from children, stop purposely dating or marrying women who have small children. These things can easily be done, all right? You choose to put yourself in the circumstances that bring you trouble, so choose not to. Okay, escape strategies. Look, it's unlikely that you're going to be able to avoid every last situation that could predict a lapse, okay? So you need to be prepared to enact effective escape strategies whenever an unexpected risk factor occurs. These escape strategies should be employed as soon as you recognize the high-risk situation. If you delay, you are at a huge risk of reoffending. The most important factor of an escape strategy is the speed in which you use it. Offenders who find themselves in an unexpected high-risk situation could be compared to someone in the room with a ticking time bomb. You got to get out fast, right? Okay, a quick response might not appear elegant, but it doesn't have to. This is about you interrupting a chain of events that could lead to disaster. All right? Lastly are the programmed coping responses. These responses are necessary when confronting a specific high-risk situation. Program your responses. In other words, think of a situation, think about how you're going to handle it. Program your responses by taking the following steps. All right. First, imagine a problematic situation. All right. Then you're going to brainstorm. If I am in this situation, what should my coping response be? Think of a bunch of things. Evaluate these things. All right. Evaluate them. What would be the likely outcome of each of these things that you thought of? And lastly, you have to estimate your ability to enact the best coping response. All right. Once the best coping response is identified, practice it. Tell someone how you plan to handle the situation and listen to their feedback. All right. Please be open to feedback from others. What you will see is that intense, repetitive work will result in natural and instinctive skills. In other words, you won't have to go through all this planning all the time. The way you appropriately and adaptively handle a situation will become instinctual. All right? That's what we're looking for. All right. On Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, I'm going to post this 2-page worksheet. You should complete this by listing the feelings that you have in this column that correspond to each of these thoughts and behavior cues. And then over here, you're going to list your interventions for each of these thoughts. By doing this, you have a plan. And as they say, whoever they is, I don't know who they is, but if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. All right? Have a plan for the way you deal with certain feelings. I promise you it will lessen the chances of a lapse and then, of course, a relapse. All right? Next time, we are going to close out this advanced relapse prevention module by talking about the abstinence violation effect, or AVE, which we have briefly mentioned when we first were talking about the relapse prevention model. It is on your relapse prevention model and is the result of having a lapse. So if you go back to your relapse prevention model, you will see it. All right? Until next time, please subscribe to my channel. Share these videos with someone who you think they can help. Feel free to get in touch with me through this channel or through Facebook or through Twitter or through Instagram. And until next time, be well.